Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, always exciting to jump into a new one.
So today we're looking at something you guys sent in, and it's really interesting. Um, it's actually a script.
Oh, a script, like a movie script.
Not quite, no, it's actually for a podcast, a beginner English learning podcast.
Oh, cool. So like a monologue or something.
Exactly. And it's meant for those just starting out, the A1, A2 level learners.
Right, the absolute basics. So what are we doing with it?
Well, that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. We're going to break this monologue down, see how it works, what makes it effective, and pull out all the core knowledge about, the English language and learning it as a beginner.
Kind of like reverse engineering a good language learning experience.
Yeah, exactly. We're giving you a shortcut to understanding some important concepts
Oh,
all through this one monologue script.
sounds like a plan. Where do we start?
Well, the monologue starts off with something pretty universal: daily routines. We hear from this guy, John from London, and he walks us through his typical day. Waking up around 7 a.m., sometimes hitting the snooze button, the usual.
I think everyone can relate to that snooze button struggle.
Absolutely. And then he goes into the morning routine: brushing teeth, washing face, getting dressed, and a quick breakfast, like toast, cereal, maybe some coffee or tea.
It's smart to start with daily routines, right? Something everyone does, regardless of language. So it's a great way to introduce basic vocabulary and sentence structures in a familiar context.
Yeah, it's like a calming ground, a starting point everyone can connect with.
Makes those new words and grammar feel less intimidating, for sure.
Right. So John then talks about his commute, taking the car or bus around 8 a.m., having lunch with coworkers, usually a sandwich or salad, and then working until about 5 p.m. Evenings are for dinner, something simple like pasta or rice, relaxing with TV or his phone, and he even squeezes in 20 minutes of Spanish study.
Wow, a polyglot in the making.
That's right. And then it's off to bed around 11 p.m., aiming for that solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
It's interesting how the monologue focuses on these repetitive actions. It subtly emphasizes the simple present tense. I wake up, I go to work, I eat. That's one of the first tenses learners need to master, and daily routines are the perfect illustration.
It's all about building those foundations. And then he does something really clever. He points out the difference between his weekday and weekend routines.
Oh, that's a good point. Weekdays are structured, weekends are more flexible. That introduces a bit more variety in vocabulary and activities, but still within a familiar weekly cycle.
Right, and it subtly highlights how language adapts to different situations and time frames. And then, this is where it gets interactive, he directly addresses the listener, you.
Oh, I like that. Gets the listener involved.
Exactly. He encourages you to think about your own daily routine and try describing it in English. He even gives you some starter sentences like, I wake up at, or I brush my teeth at.
That's a great way to encourage active learning instead of just passive listening. You're not just absorbing information, you're applying it immediately.
Absolutely. And from there, the monologue moves on to another essential aspect of communication: greetings and introducing yourself.
It's basic, but fundamental. Imagine trying to communicate in any language without knowing how to say hello or introduce yourself.
It'd be impossible.
Yeah.
So John starts by explaining that greetings are essentially about saying hello or offering a welcome. He then breaks down common English greetings based on the time of day. Hello and hi work anytime, but hi is more casual. Then there's good morning before 12 p.m., good afternoon from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., and good evening after 5 p.m. or when it gets dark.
It's interesting how he provides those time-based guidelines. It removes ambiguity for beginners, especially for something that seems so simple but can be tricky depending on the culture.
Yeah, definitely. And he clears up a common confusion. Good night is not a greeting.
Oh, right. It's for leaving or going to bed. I've seen learners get
Right.
tripped up by that one.
Exactly. He then goes on to the usual follow-up after, hello, how are you? He explains the standard responses, I'm fine, thank you, and you, or I'm good, thanks, how about you? He mentions other beginner-level answers, but emphasizes how common fine or good really are.
It's almost like a formulaic exchange, right? The question isn't always a genuine inquiry about your well-being, but more of a social convention.
Exactly. And he even provides a little practice dialogue. You
Oh.
say, hello, how are you? The other person replies, hi, I'm fine, thank you, how are you? And you say, I'm good, thanks. Simple but effective.
Those little model dialogues are so helpful. They show how those individual phrases fit into a natural conversation flow.
It's like seeing the pieces of the puzzle come together. Now, for introductions, he goes over the key phrases, my name is, or I'm. He explains the typical back and forth. You share your name, the other person shares theirs, then you both say, nice to meet you.
It's that reciprocal exchange, a universal element of introductions. Nice to meet you is such a key phrase to learn early on.
Right. And of course, he covers the direct question, what's your name? And the standard reply, my name is. He even reminds listeners that they can ask back with, and you, or what's your name?
Those are the bread and butter of introductions, essential building blocks for basic communication.
Absolutely. And then he tackles the where are you from question. He gives clear examples of how to respond with your country or city and how to clarify the country if your town is lesser known. Like his example, I am from London, England, or I'm from London in the UK.
It's all about providing enough context for clear communication.
Then he acts out a whole introduction scenario, putting all these phrases together, including those useful closing phrases like, it was nice to meet you, and see you later.
So they can really visualize how it all plays out in a real-life situation.
Exactly. And he emphasizes that for a beginner, just mastering those basic greetings, introductions, and saying nice to meet you is a huge accomplishment.
It's about setting realistic goals, right? No need to overwhelm yourself with too much too soon.
Right. And then comes the practice part. He says phrases like, hello, hi, good morning. My name is Tame. I'm from Mood. Nice to meet you. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Goodbye. And leaves pauses for the listener to repeat.
So crucial. Speaking out loud is where the magic happens.
Totally agree. It's not enough to just understand. You have to practice actually saying the words. And then he encourages you to say your own introduction out loud. Hello, my name is your name. I am from your country. I am learning English. Nice to meet you.
Getting that immediate verbalization is so powerful for making it stick.
Moving on, the monologue then focuses on going to school or work, recognizing that these are pretty important parts of most people's lives.
Yeah, there are environments where you really need to use language to navigate daily interactions.
Exactly. He starts with morning greetings, emphasizing good morning for teachers, classmates, or coworkers, and the natural flow into how are you as part of a friendly exchange.
It shows how those greetings can be adapted for different social settings.
Then he delves into school life, covering things like studying subjects, math, science, history, English following schedules, and even gives those all-important classroom phrases. Excuse me, I have a question. Could you repeat that, please? Things you absolutely need to know.
Those are lifesavers, especially for beginners who might be hesitant to ask for clarification.
Totally. He also mentions break time chats, introducing casual greetings like, hey, or what's up? But he advises beginners to stick with the more formal hello and how are you until they feel more comfortable.
Yeah, it's better to err on the side of caution with informal language until you really understand the nuances.
Agreed. He covers introducing yourself to classmates, tying back to those earlier introduction practices and end-of-class goodbyes. See you tomorrow for friends, and the more formal goodbye, Mr. Rin's name, or thank you, see you tomorrow for teachers.
It's like a little social etiquette guide for the classroom.
Then he switches to work life, noting similarities to school, like the importance of morning greetings. Good morning, everyone. He talks about typical work activities like starting the computer, checking emails, and gives an example sentence. I need to finish this report today.
It's grounding the language in a practical professional setting.
Then he introduces phrases for requests and offers. Could you help me with this, please? And let me know if you need any help.
A bit more advanced, but so valuable for navigating a workplace environment.
Absolutely. He also includes phrases for customer service. Can I help you? And how can I help you? Plus the classic, thank you, have a nice day. Even if you don't work in those roles, you'll hear them all the time.
It's about understanding the language used in everyday transactions.
And he covers talking about plans and schedules. I have a meeting at 2 p.m. We have an English lesson after lunch, highlighting time expressions and words like class, meeting, lunch, break.
It's building vocabulary for everyday scheduling and planning.
Then, after schoolwork, he goes over saying goodbye. Goodbye, see you tomorrow, or see you on Monday, on Friday at work, and bye, or see you later at school. He re-emphasizes see you tomorrow when you're meeting the next day, and introduces have a good weekend for Fridays.
It's those little farewell rituals that help you end conversations smoothly.
He even does a whole role play set in an office. Arriving, greetings, how are you, exchange, work talk, then end of day goodbyes explaining have a good evening and you too.
That really ties it all together, doesn't it? Shows how those simple phrases build a real interaction.
For sure. Then he suggests actually using a simple English greeting at school or work, even to another learner, or practicing in the mirror, and encourages writing simple sentences about your routine like, I go to work at 9. I have a meeting at 11. I eat lunch at 1. I finish work at 5.
It's all about taking those first steps, putting the language into action in your daily life.
Now comes the part where we move beyond individual phrases and routines. Tips for learning English for beginners.
The broader strategies that can really make a difference in your language journey.
The first tip is practice a little bit every day. He emphasizes consistency over those long, infrequent study sessions. Even 15 minutes daily, listening to English, reviewing words, reading a bit is better than 2 hours once a week. He talks about building a habit, making it part of your routine, like an English song in the morning or reading at night.
A little and often is so much more effective than trying to cram everything in at once. It's about making English a natural part of your day.
Absolutely. And tip number 2, set small goals. Having those achievable targets helps keep you motivated. Examples he gives are learning 5 new words daily or practicing introductions until you feel confident. He even suggests celebrating those small wins, reinforcing positive habits.
It's those small victories that keep you going, especially when learning a language feels challenging.
And tip number 3 is so important. Make learning fun with content you enjoy. Connect it to your interests, whether it's simple English songs, beginner-friendly movies, or shows with subtitles, or even children's books.
It's amazing how much more you learn when you're genuinely enjoying the process.
Totally. Tip number 4 is about creating an English environment. Use English in your daily life, even if you're alone. He suggests chatting in English with other learners, talking to yourself, labeling things in your house, or even changing your phone or computer's language settings.
It's about immersing yourself as much as possible, even if it's in small ways.
Next is tip number 5, focusing on speaking. Listen and repeat. He advises listening to native speakers in videos, podcasts, movies, and imitating them. He mentions repeating phrases from learner-focused audio, which often has repetition built in. It trains your ear and mouth and helps with memory.
That's a classic technique called shadowing. It's so effective for improving pronunciation and fluency.
And tip number 6 is all about organization. Keep a vocabulary notebook. Write down new words and phrases with their meaning, maybe in your native language or a simple English definition and an example sentence. Review it regularly, try to remember the words, maybe draw pictures. It helps you track your progress.
It's about making that active effort to build your vocabulary and really make those words stick.
And finally, tip number 7 is about mindset. Be patient and enjoy the process. He stresses that it's a journey, and celebrating small victories is important, like understanding a line in a song or saying a phrase smoothly. He compares it to a long journey with small steps.
It's easy to get discouraged, but remembering to enjoy the process and appreciate the small wins is so important.
Absolutely. Then he encourages you to pick 1 or 2 tips to try this week, maybe 10 minutes daily practice and learning a new song. He reminds us that everyone learns differently, and the key is to keep practicing and never give up.
That's really the heart of it, isn't it? Consistent effort and a positive attitude.
Definitely. Now we get to a crucial topic, motivation to keep learning. Because learning a language has its ups and downs, and staying motivated can be tough.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Motivation is what keeps you going.
Exactly. So tip number 1, remember why you started. Think about your reasons for learning, maybe write them down. Visualize yourself achieving your goals.
Connecting back to that initial spark can reignite your passion when things get tough.
And tip number 2, acknowledge your progress. Recognize how far you've come. Keep a learning journal. Note down what you've learned. Look back and see your progress.
It's so motivating to see how much you've accomplished, even those small steps.
Tip number 3 is, every mistake is a lesson. Making mistakes is natural. It shows you're trying. He gives the example of correcting he go to he goes, learning about the mess ending in the present simple. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, even native speakers do. Focus on communication and improvement.
It's about shifting your perspective. Mistakes aren't failures, they're learning opportunities.
And tip number 4 is, don't compare yourself too much to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. Some might be faster, have more time. Focus on your personal progress, he says. I will improve step by step. He reminds us that in the future, others might admire our progress.
Comparison can be the thief of joy, especially in language learning. It's about celebrating your individual journey.
Tip number 5 is, stay positive and patient. A positive mindset makes all the difference. Turn those I can't do this thoughts into I'm learning and improving. He says improvement takes time, like growing a plant.
It's about trusting the process and being kind to yourself.
Tip number 6 is about finding support. Find support and inspiration. Connect with other learners in groups or online. Learn from those who have succeeded.
It's so helpful to have a community of people who understand the challenges and can cheer you on.
Absolutely. Then he shares his personal story learning Spanish. Started with basic words, felt discouraged by fast speech, but made gradual progress with daily practice. 10 minutes vocab and listening, weekly speaking, making mistakes. Over months and a year, he reached basic conversational level. His message, it's okay if it's hard, keep going, and you'll see progress.
That's a great example of how persistence pays off. It's inspiring to hear someone else go through those same struggles and come out the other side.
He then offers words of encouragement. You can do this. He acknowledges your effort listening to the monologue and reminds you every study session helps. When you feel like giving up, think about your reasons, your progress, take a breath and keep going. He says, the only time you fail is when you stop trying.
That's such a powerful reminder. It's about resilience and never losing sight of your goals.
And he suggests keeping motivation high by mixing fun with study, rewarding yourself, surrounding yourself with positive messages. He ends by expressing belief in your ability to learn English.
A great mix of practical strategies and positive reinforcement.
The monologue then ends with a super useful section. Common English phrases, recap and extra. It's a summary and expansion of key phrases for beginners.
A great takeaway for listeners to start using right away.
He starts with greetings. Hello, hi, time-specific greetings, re-emphasizing good night correctly. Then how are you? I'm fine, thank you. What's your name? My name is Hake, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too.
The bread and butter of social interactions.
Then it's, thank you. You're welcome, please, excuse me.
Politeness markers that make a big difference in any interaction.
I'm sorry, even extending it to, I'm sorry to hear that, for sympathy. Phrases for leaving, bye, bye-bye, see you later, see you tomorrow, see you soon.
Important for those smooth exits and indicating future encounters.
Have a nice day, have a good weekend.
Those farewell wishes that add warmth and positivity.
Basic responses like yes, no, okay, sure, and reassuring phrases, no problem, that's okay.
Essential for participating in even the simplest exchanges.
He stresses how common and useful these are and suggests practicing mini dialogues, even giving examples from earlier in the monologue, like asking for the bathroom, thanking for a meal, meeting someone, apologizing.
Putting those phrases into practice through imaginary conversations is a great way to make them stick.
He reminds you that repetition makes them feel natural and suggests focusing on a few at a time if some are new. He concludes by saying these are the building blocks of basic English conversation.
That's a perfect way to wrap up that section. It really highlights the importance of mastering those fundamental phrases.
So there we have it. We've reached the end of our deep dive into this beginner English learning podcast monologue. And if you've made it this far, congrats. Seriously, that's dedication to your learning journey.
We've covered so much ground, mirroring the structure of the monologue itself. Daily routines, greetings, school and work, learning tips, motivation, and common phrases. It's like a condensed course in beginner English learning.
Don't worry if you didn't catch every single detail. You can always listen again. Maybe try shadowing John during the repetition parts to practice your pronunciation.
And most importantly, start putting what you've learned into practice. Describe your routine in English, practice greetings, choose a learning tip from the monologue to focus on this week.
Every little bit counts. And remember, you're part of a huge community of learners all over the world.
Keep that motivation going, celebrate your progress, and have fun with it.
Keep up the great work, stay positive, and have a fantastic day. Until next time, goodbye and good luck on your English learning journey.
Think back to that very first English word you learned. Now look how far you've come. And just imagine all the amazing conversations waiting for you in the future.